Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, we'll call this regular town council meeting to order. Record of attendance, Lindsay has that. Absent with regrets, which is Councillor McLeod. Can I have that motion? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Second by Councillor Cleveland. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Declarations of conflict of interest, anyone? And you can certainly declare at the time of the item. Anybody? We're good. Thank you. Approval of agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions? Anyone?
Sorry. Your worship, could I add, I don't know if it would come up anyway under reports down below, but just a report on Ren. It probably just comes up in the report section, but.
Certainly. Anybody else? Okay, we're good. Oh, well, no, we're not good. Because now I don't have a. Can you hear me? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can
Sorry,
see you.
I'm sorry, I'm completely blocked. Now I'm gone.
We can see you, Pam.
Oh gosh, I'm still there. All right. Okay. Approval of the agenda, please, with the addition.
So move.
Thank you. Councillor Hatfield?
Second it.
Second by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, approval of minutes. Town Council, April 8th, 2021.
So moved.
Councillor Cleveland?
Second it.
Was that the deputy?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I can't see.
And I think she's froze now. That actually happened to me in the special meeting as well. As I was trying to amend my motion, I don't know if you realized that I completely lost contact there for a moment, so.
I just received a text and she asked me to take over. She got booted out and she's going to try to get back on. Should we wait a few or would you like to go forward?
Right now, this is just minute approval. Let's move forward.
Go forward.
Okay. Yeah, so I believe that the approval of town council minutes from April 8th was just motion and seconded. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. 7B would be that the minutes from the committee of the whole from April 15th, 2021 be approved as circulated.
So moved.
So moved by Councillor Cleveland.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councillor Lesser.
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor do so with saying aye.
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 Contrary? Motion carried. 7C. Recommended that the minutes from town council on April 15th, 2021 be approved as circulated.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Cleveland, second by Councillor Hatfield.
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay. 7D, Committee of the Whole from April 22nd, 2021. That the minutes of the Committee of the Whole be approved as circulated.
So moved.
So moved by Councillor Cleveland, seconded by Councillor Lesser. Question?
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried. And finally, 7E, that the minutes from the Committee of the Whole on April 29th, 2021 be approved as circulated.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Counselor Hatfield, seconded by Counselor Lesser. We have a question.
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded. Motion carried. Okay, so CAO, we're at the public hearing part of things now. 8A.
Yes, yes. And so your, Mr. Chair, Mr. Deputy Worship, the next three items are public hearing, and so it'd be appropriate to call anybody who wishes to speak to these items to give them the opportunity one at a time. And then further down under business arising, you'll have the opportunity to make your motions at that time.
Okay. So 8A would be that council amend the council meeting bylaw that changes, that starts at the council meeting from the time of 7:30 to 6:30. So would anyone like to speak to that? Is there anyone here who would like to speak to that? And the third and final time, is there anyone here that would like to speak to that? Hearing no one, I would say we move on to 8B. Oh, I just had something pop up on my computer here. Mind me tomorrow. Okay, 8B. Oh, I see Mayor Moon is trying to get back in.
I will let her in.
Perfect.
She is in, but not, camera's not on.
Would you like me to proceed to 8B or wait for her?
Yes.
Go ahead, proceed.
You
Okay, we are on to 8B.
keep going until,
That council repeal the pension plan bylaw as recommended by the Director of Finance. Is there anyone who would like to speak to that? Is there anyone who would like to speak to that? And the third and final time, is there anyone who would like to speak to that? Hearing no one, we'll move on to 8C. Mayor Mood, are you good to take over? Or would you like me to keep going?
yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Thank you.
So 8C is 61 Waverly Street, that council amend both the municipal planning strategy and the land use bylaw to rezone 61 Waverly Street, PID 902-17985 from a commercial industrial CI4 zone to a medium density residential R2 zone as outlined in the planner's report. Is there anyone who would like to speak to that? Is there anyone who would like to speak to that? And the third and final time, is there anyone who would like to speak to that? Hearing no one, we will move forward, and I believe that ends the part of the public hearing. You good to go, Mayor Mood, or would you like me to continue?
You're good to go until I can get my agenda up,
Perfect.
if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Deputy.
Throw me into the fire. No big deal. This is why it's always important to do your pre-reading, right?
That's right.
Be on top of things. You never know. Okay. Business arising. This would be 9A in the recommended motion. Just coming from the public hearing that we just had, that council pass a second reading to amend the council meeting bylaw that changes the start of the time of council meetings from 7:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m.
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion.
Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Second by Councilor Lesser. Discussion? I'm personally great with this. I think this is something that probably should have happened a little while ago. I like the earlier hour if things ever go into, later times. It gives us a chance to discuss things and not get home at midnight and still be able to go through a drive-through. So,
I think it's good for the public as well, I think.
I agree too. A little earlier. I know a lot of the people that I talk to, seniors or whatnot, are very appreciative of us kind of moving forward on that. So I was happy to see that kind of come up. So Anybody else? And if not, we can call the question.
Question?
Question?
Question's been called. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. We'll see you next month at 6:30. That's great. Okay. Mayor Mood, have you got your agenda up yet?
Nope.
Okay, I'll carry on. Okay. 9B, pension plan bylaw repeal. It's recommended that council pass a second reading to repeal the pension plan bylaw as recommended by the Director of Finance.
I'll make the motion. I have a question after, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Discussion? Go ahead, Mayor Mood.
Yeah. Thank you, Deputy. To the CAO, does this go through our pension committee, or we don't have a pension committee anymore because we made that changeover?
That's right. So this is about the fact that we no longer manage our own pension plan. We've integrated our pension into the public sector superannuation plan. So there's no longer a need for our own bylaw or our own committee.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question?
Question's been called. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
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 Contrary minded? Motion carried. 9C, 61 Waverly Street. It's recommended that council pass a second reading to amend both the municipal planning strategy and the land use bylaw to rezone 61 Waverly Street, PID 902-17985 from a commercial industrial CI4 zone to a medium density residential R2 zone as outlined in the planner's report.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Lesser,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion?
Just wanted to mention, I know we talk about it all the time, but the need for housing in our community, and I think it's great that people are thinking a little bit outside the box and looking at rezoning. I think those are all important things to do, so I'm very happy to be supporting this motion.
Agreed.
Question?
Question's been called. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. 9D, operational budget 2021-22. Do I have to read all that?
Deputy,
Yes.
there is a typo, I believe, in the motion that we have in front of us.
Okay.
It should say, I think, for the surplus of 30,000, but it just says 30,00. So I think that number, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but I believe it should say for a surplus of $30,000 for its general operations, but it just says 30,00. So
That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that. Yep.
I don't know if it has to be worded different in the minutes or whatever, but
We'll fix it.
So you want me to read through that whole spiel or?
So you can, and we usually do. There are two motions there. One is specifically related to the tax rate, although I will say that that was a motion at committee of the whole to provide direction to staff, and that motion is already incorporated within the second motion, which reads out all the rates, the commercial, residential, resource and farmland rates. So the first motion really isn't necessary if the second motion is made and passed.
Okay, so
Yes, sorry, Mr. Deputy Mayor, if you have any hesitation about reading that, I don't mind reading it out if unless somebody else wants to.
no, I just
I'll
wasn't.
do it.
Good, sure, go ahead.
Do you want me to take that now? You can't see me, but
Go right ahead.
hang on 1 second.
And if not, I have no problem doing it.
Okay, I'm just managing this on my phone, believe it or not. Okay, so operational budget 2021, 2022. So the recommended motion is that council increase the tax rate by 1 penny. Also the recommended motion is that council accept a budget with revenues in the amount of $17,845,929 and expenses of $17,815,929 for surplus of $30,000. And we noted that, Councillor Lesser, for its general operations for the year ended March 31st, 2022, which provides for the following rates. Residential at $167 per $100 of assessment. Commercial property is $4.29 per $100 of assessment. Resource general at $1.67 per 100 of assessment, and farmland $2.16 per acre. We have garbage and collection processing, which everyone is aware of. The residential rate there is $190 per dwelling unit, up to a maximum of 4 units, 4 dwellings units per building. Other in excess of 4 dwelling units is deemed commercial and at the owner's expense. Retail and other commercial type operators are deemed commercial and at the owner's expense. We also have, and I won't read these, but the pollution control charges, basically the sewer, the quarterly base rates there at 5/8 of an inch at 36.51 up to 8 inches at 3286.27. The effluent rate is 4.617 per 1,000 imperial gallons. The interest rate, we're at an interest rate of 10% per annum that will be charged on delinquent accounts, and that is down from, I believe, 14 and then previously 18. So we basically decreased that last year because of COVID to make things a little bit easier. And under depreciation, which I can say we're always proud of this, that council approves a transfer to the capital fund in the amount of $1,925,000. With regard to the budget, the CAO will implement the inherent recommendations, administer and control the operating budget, and report to council as appropriate. So that is basically the budget. Do we have any questions, anyone?
Yeah, would you be able to read that again? I'm just kidding.
From memory, please.
Actually, I just about have it memorized because I've read it so many times. Councillor Hatfield, did you have your hand up? And Councillor Dare?
Okay. Yeah, I just want to point out that we are voting on a 1 penny percentage increase rate. Increasing taxes is always a controversial topic and not one that I know that this council has taken lightly. But at the same time, we are about to take on a very costly infrastructure project that the citizens of the town that we will be approaching taxpayers. Pam's gone again. That it won't be the last time that we'll be approaching taxpayers to help with this project.
Heather, you've muted yourself.
Heather, you're muted.
Heather.
Okay, sorry, where did you lose me?
Yeah,
so as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay more but at the same time, I want these projects, and I want to have a Mariner Center to go to. And so recognizing that, you know, the taxpayers will have to pay some of that, I would rather it see a bit gradual increase, and that's why I'm only in favor of doing a 1% increase this year, but at the same time letting taxpayers know that next year there'll probably be another increase, and then the following year there may be more. We don't know, but we know that the project is coming. We know that it's going to cost money, and I think it's only wise and good governance, financial governance, to say, okay, we need to start putting some money aside for that. And so this 1% increase that we spoke about and have discussed was to go strictly to the Mariner expansion. And so I just want, you know, the public to know that that's where that money is targeted for and will go for, and it's a start to helping get this project off the ground and to give us what we deserve. So thank you.
Good. Thank you. Can you all hear me now? Okay. Anyone else? Councillor Dares, and then Councillor Cleveland, then Councillor Lesser, then our CAO, unless the CAO wants to go first.
Thank you. So just to point out one small discrepancy there, it's not a 1% increase, it's a 1 cent increase. So just to clarify. But the reality of that situation is this is just telegraphing a punch. A 1 cent increase, quite honestly, equates to about $42,000, I'm told, in the overall tax base. And since the average assessment of a property and housing in residence in Yarmouth is $125,000, it actually means about $1, just slightly over $1 per household per month. So it's not a great deal of money, but it does signal, I guess, a desire on our part to start putting some money away now for what we know is going to be a costly build in the future. So it's just, as I say, telegraphing our punch. And I will make the motion to approve the budget as presented.
Okay, so when you make that motion, CAO, when he makes that motion as presented, that includes the penny and the rest of the budget. Okay, just to be clear for council that he is encompassing in that.
Yes.
Both in there. Okay, go ahead, CAO.
Yeah, so I guess this is as good a time as any to admit an error. Since the last meeting, or last budget meeting, the Director of Finance made adjustments, and in the attached budget, which shows the detail, you'll notice a discrepancy, and the discrepancy is in the overall revenue and expenses. The net surplus remains at $30,000, but the revenues are budgeted at $18,095,644, and the expenses are budgeted at $18,065,644. And so we didn't get the motion, unfortunately, updated for you for tonight. So that's a minor adjustment, Councillor Dares, to the motion that you're making.
Yes, I agree.
CAO, can you repeat those numbers again? Sorry.
Sure. Income or revenue.
Budget with revenues. Yeah.
18,095,644.
Okay.
Expenses, $18,065,644.
Perfect. Good. Thank you.
Okay, my
Okay.
apologies for the error.
Next. Councillor Cleveland.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship. Basically, I'm going to echo what Councillor Hatfield said. In all honesty, this decision wasn't easy, and it was a long discussion that we had during the committee of the whole. And there was much back and forth as to whether or not we wanted to do an increase at all. It's never a good thing to increase taxes, especially in the midst of the situation we find ourselves in, which is, of course, the pandemic. But this Mariners expansion is coming, but more than that, the Mariners on Main project is moving forward as well, which is what I wanted to point out. And really, in all honesty, we could almost get away with calling this a surcharge. I know we're not going to do that, but that money is in anticipation of putting money into the reopening of the facility formerly known as the YMCA 275 Main, and to go towards the expansion, because that's an ongoing project. It's going to take a little while to do, and it's going to cost money. And so it's time to put our money where our mouth is. Talk is cheap, whiskey costs money. So it's time to go.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lesser?
Yeah, I think I agree with what people are saying. It's a difficult thing to talk about any kind of a tax increase. I don't think any of us wanted to campaign on raising taxes. This is a small increase. The difference being that I see, this is what did it for me, is if I were to go buy a $200,000 house right now and mortgage it, I'm going to end up paying about $400,000 by the time I've paid the interest off, principal and interest. So the more money we can put aside ahead of time is actually going to save our taxpayers money. And that's what I keep going back to when I think of it. It's important that we invest money that we have into these projects as opposed to borrowing it all and then our taxpayers paying to pay off the debt, which is what we see in, and no, I'm not judging anything on the federal side or provincial side, but we see that in other levels of government. We're paying so much per every dollar of tax money to pay off that debt. So the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly, because I want to get it in every time, is for full transparency on everything we're talking about, all these documents are on the Town of Yarmouth website. We make the meeting quicker by going through them, and you don't necessarily understand all of it, but all those documents, if you want to look through them all, are on the Town of Yarmouth website for people to peruse through. So I'll be supporting the motion as well. And like I said, I think it's better to put the money up front than on the backs of taxpayers with interest charges.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy?
So I did have some trouble with the 1 cent too. I mean, everybody here did. We don't easily just want to raise taxes, as everybody said, but I do think it's smart. You know, a few pennies saved now is not demanding for $1 down the road. You can call it a rainy day fund or what you'd like, but as all of our council has said, you know, we know what the big project is. To lightly come about it and start saving now, I think is very smart. It is 1 cent. I don't want to say only 1 cent, but it is 1 cent. As Councillor Dares had said, you know, the average household is about 125,000. That works out to, you know, 12 something a month per person, or $12 a year, $12.50, you know, a little more than $1 a month. To think that someday we could drive by the Mariner Center and see a 6-lane pool with all the amenities that we've always hoped for, the hard work that Councillor Cleveland and the people on the management board have gone through, Durham, to make this happen. This is just jumping on board, and you know, it's that first snowball that we're starting to push down the hill, and it is a small one, but it's to get us to where we need to be. And if we can all start chipping in now and saving our pennies, when the big bill comes, we're ready to go. And I too will be supporting this, and I thank the council for the discussions that we've had in our meetings and the emails that we've sent, and you know, just to all be sure that we're on board. And you know, I will say there are some agreements I think that we can work on moving forward, that maybe to save our money, you know, in other places, and I think that's important too. And I think this is the time to have a relook at, you know, the services that we hire out in other places, and anywhere we can save to put in this bank is money down the road that, you know, is not just good for Yarmouth Town, is good for our whole region. So I think this is a good step forward, and I will be supporting the budget as well.
Thank you, Deputy. Anyone else? I'm certainly in favor of the budget, and you know, just as everyone said, it doesn't matter how much it is. We don't like to raise taxes. We haven't done that in 3 years. I would also remind everybody that we are just in the middle of the pack. We're the 5th largest town in the province, but we are just in the middle of the pack when it comes to you know, the taxes that we ask from folks. So so yeah.
And,
so
and your worship,
Yes.
In our discussion as well, I believe the rate has dropped over years. We've gone the opposite way. We've actually gone down in our tax.
Yeah.
By, I think it's like 14 cents or something. So the hard work of previous councils to do things, that makes me feel a little bit better about it as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Deputy.
Also, earlier I had a message from Councillor Dares if he wants to speak to the waterfront development and kind of the information that he shared there with me about that. I think that's important too to get out to the public. If you wouldn't mind, Councillor Dares. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
Well, that's fine, Deputy. Yeah, I do recall some years ago that there was I think a surcharge or a levy imposed to do the waterfront development. And I believe it was in the vicinity of 10 cents on the tax rate. But surprisingly enough, there was very little, if any, public kickback from that because people were so desperately wanting to see the waterfront developed. When I moved here in 1984, I can only describe the waterfront as basically a dump from one end to the other. And we see the efforts of the waterfront development and other bodies down there on Water Street. So yeah, knowing that people are anxious to see the Mariner Center expansion and the reopening of 275 Main Street, I don't anticipate that anyone will be balking or complaining about a very moderate tax increase. And that's the way you get these projects done.
Yeah, agree. Okay, anyone else before we call the question? All right.
Question?
Good? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Unanimous budget. Is Jerry on? He'll be happy. Thanks, folks. Okay, so under new business, Mariner Center Board appointment, the recommended motion there is that council appoint Lori, Town of Yarmouth representative on the Mariner Center Board for a term of 2 years. Moved by Councillor Cleveland. Second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead, Councillor Cleveland.
Thank you. I'd like to speak to this because I want to give a little bit of an explanation about what we've been doing with the Mariner Center Board, which I think is kind of exciting, actually. We've been doing a lot of discussion around the Mariner Center, as I'm sure you know, but it's more than just about expansion. It's more than just about Mariners on Main. It's become almost an existential discussion since we hired Durham, which was a fantastic move on our part, may I add. And one of the things that we're planning to do is basically switch ourselves from a board that's basically just an appointed board to a skills-based board. And towards that, what we did this time through is we had quite a process in place in which we asked for people to apply, send resumes. I personally spoke to everyone that applied, and I'm not speaking just of the town of Yarmouth, but those who applied for the municipality of Argyle, for the municipality of Yarmouth as well. They were more like job interviews, and it was great. We had an amazing amount of very, very talented people. I made at one point a joke saying that, you know what, the way we're doing things, I don't actually qualify for this board, and I'm only half kidding. They are some real experts there. And for the town of Yarmouth, we had several very talented people that I actually plan to reach out to within the next few days, because just because they can't serve on this particular board at this time doesn't mean that they might not be up for working on subcommittees, that kind of thing. There's a lot of work to be done. So anyway, it is my absolute pleasure to recommend that Lori serve on the board for the period of 2 years.
Thank you. Councillor Lesser?
Yeah, I've had the privilege of working with Lori Sigfridson for a number of years when I was at the high school and currently at the central office, board office, or regional office, I guess. And she does have a very good skill set. She's our healthy active living coordinator. which fits into this role really well. And she has, as Councillor Cleveland mentioned in an email earlier today, she has a phenomenal ability to raise money. Last year during the pandemic, she worked with a number of others, and they fed a ton of families in our area. Deputy Mayor as well did the same thing with a number of students he works for. But she has good connections and is able to get people on side. Very thoughtful and thinks things out really well. So I'll be supporting this. One thing I did notice, Councillor Cleveland, is that you just said skill set, and I think earlier in the email, I think you used the word kill set, and left the S on the front out. And I was trying to figure out what that meant. But now I'm glad you said skill set, because I didn't think Lori was fitting the other criteria.
She has a particular set of skills. I'm sorry, I just watched Taken. Anyway, sorry, that was a time.
I mean, I'm in favor, obviously, because Lori is, quite the asset to this committee or any committee she would sit on. I love that you're doing this with a skills matrix. It's tremendously important. I think the days are gone where you pick somebody because you know them, or those days are gone. And I can speak very clearly to that with regard to the REN. And we were the first ones to get that up and going in the province. We are still the example when it comes to how RENs are done. And we recruited through that skills matrix what I always refer to as the dream team. Everybody has something that they put on the table, and it's no games, and it's not small potatoes, and it's a big deal, and we need those skills at the table. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also glad that you mentioned that you're going to reach out to these people, because we could only choose one. It's really important that we engage those folks that were interested, because there's so many committees that they can sit on. So I'm really glad about that. Anybody else before I call the question? Deputy?
I'd just like to reiterate what everybody said. I've seen the work that Lori does within the school board and whatnot. I think it's important that Councillor Cleveland explain the process. We often get questions about why not me, or how come, or whatnot. Now it's out there for everybody to know. I think anyone who knows Lori you're getting a ringer here. So, I've seen her secure, grants and whatnot for food security for kids over the last little bit. We've worked together with Jay Strong a little bit throughout the schools and the swim program, and I think she'd be an asset to any board. So I too will be supporting this.
Good. Someone want to call the question?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Thanks, folks. Congratulations, Lori. Tender results. Granular materials 2021 season. The recommended motion is that council award the tender to Quality Concrete Inc., provided that the materials meet the required specifications as determined by an independent material testing lab, as recommended by the manager of Public Works.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Lesser.
Second it.
Second by Deputy. Any discussion?
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Heather. Go ahead, Gil. Did you have a question?
No. Just
Oh,
agree.
I can still see your fingers still sitting there where you're waving.
Well,
I'm running this from my phone.
I'm just
so-
being my normal agreeable self.
So everybody's in favor. Nobody declined. Okay. Thank you. Motion carried. And 10C, tender results for paving and patching for the 2021 season. And that recommended motion is that council award the paving and patching tender for the 2021 season to the lowest tenderer, which was Aberdeen Paving Limited, as recommended by the manager of Public Works.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion?
I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor Lesser said earlier about if anybody wants to know where this information is, what the bids are, these go to a procurement provincial site. This isn't, we're hiring our buddies to do some paving. They put in a bid, we take the bid based on a matrix or whatnot. I often, you hear that out in the public. So just if people want to know, go to the town website, look it up. The bids are there for everyone to see. It's public knowledge. This is all above board, and I look forward to any paving that we can get going as soon as possible.
Agree on the paving. And it sure is different from this side of the table. Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. 10D, tender results, sidewalk and curb program 2021 season. The recommended motion is that council award the tender for the curb and sidewalk program to the overall low bidder, which was D's Decorative Concrete, as recommended by the Manager of Public Works.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Cleveland,
Second.
second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion, folks?
Question?
Questions called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. 10E, I love springtime. We get all these tenders out. Woo! So this one's Parade Street sewer separation. That's the beautiful work that we do. Separate the sewer. So the recommended motion is that council award the Parade Street sewer separation to Aberdeen for price one only in the amount of $2,375,242.65. HST is extra, as recommended by the project engineer. Moved by Councillor Cleveland. Second by Councillor Dares. Any discussion? Go ahead, Wade.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm happy to support this, but I do have some question actually asked by me or to me from one of the residents right on the corner there, asking what the timeline is on this, and is there any plans for how things are going to go as far as where everybody parks and all those details. And I know those details will become clear once things going, but I would like to know about the timeline. How soon are we going to start this?
Yeah.
So Mark Brophy's on the call here, Your Worship. Maybe he could answer the question.
Mr. Brophy?
Sure, I'd love to. 'Cause we're excited to get this project going. Once you do an award, they have to order pipe, they have to do shop drawings, they have to get manholes built with the proper inverts. That's a 2 to 3 week process. So if it all goes well, they'll be in the ground in June, and it's a 2 to 3 month project. At the end of it, you're going to have all new pavement from Parade to Pleasant.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you, engineer.
The idea is not just about the pavement, although that's the beautiful part on top, but almost $2.4 million for sewer separation in a very small portion.
What the real benefit of this project is it makes our Glebe Street project last year work, because the catchment area of all the Parade Street is a considerable amount of stormwater, which will now go to the Glebe outfall instead of having to go for treatment at the plant. So this is what makes Glebe Street make sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. It all works together, and we're glad to do this stuff. It's just not the glamorous. It's not the glamorous job when you spend $2.4 million for sewer separation pipes, but it's all good. It's part of the part of the process.
Yeah, and just also all new water line from Parade to Pleasant as well, and that's old water line.
Perfect. Yeah, our water lines are old. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
Question.
Councilor Dares?
No, just, I'm in favor. Jump the gun.
Every time you do that, I think you're putting your hand up. Okay, questions called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary?
I would like to make one comment, though.
No.
I hope that nobody that's following the agenda online like I am is concerned about the fact that I just scrolled to page 4 of the agenda and it says 4 of 111. I just want to assure people that we're not going to go that long.
Well, we're only going to 110.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we moved meetings up earlier, so we could get the 100 pages in.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, 10F is the REMO bylaw. The recommended motion there is that council adopt the regional emergency measure management bylaw as presented. And that was in the attachment there.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Lesser,
Second it.
second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thanks, folks. 10G,
Your worship,
minimum.
sorry, your worship.
Go ahead,
Can I-
CA.
Can I interject here? We have, so the new REMO bylaw allows us to work with two partners on emergency management. We do have an old municipal emergency measures bylaw. So if you would, I'd ask you to pass first reading of rescinding that bylaw. So as the new bylaw comes into effect next month, the old bylaw will be lined up to be taken off the table at the same time.
Okay, so you want me to do that now?
If you would.
And the recommended motion would be that council rescind the previous REMO bylaw?
It's the municipal emergency measures bylaw, yes.
Okay,
So moved.
Councillor Dares?
Second it.
Seconded by Councillor, okay, second by Councillor Cleveland. I saw his hand go up. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Thanks, CAO.
Thank you.
10G, minimum housing standards bylaw amendment. So the recommended motion there is that council amend bylaw 14, minimum housing standards bylaw as recommended by staff.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Lesser,
I'll second it.
second by Councillor Hatfield.
Is it possible to get the CAO to talk a little bit about this? Just
Sure. Yep.
a
So
lengthy document, so it might save some people from watching that.
sure.
Yeah.
So the point of the current amendment is to give staff some authority to spend up to $1,500 to correct deficiencies that landlords are not willing to or don't comply with orders from the administrator. So this allows us to fix situations that are let's say fairly minor or affordable to fix, and keep a person in their apartment while this is going on. The concern is that when we issue orders now, what we don't want for fairly minor things is landlords to evict tenants so that they can go ahead and make these necessary repairs, or say, well, it's not habitable because I've got this order from the town which says it doesn't meet minimum housing. So this is a way that a landlord who chooses to not comply with the order gives us the ability to make the necessary requirements so people don't have to leave the premises, and we are able to put the charges or the costs that we incur against the property as a lien. So the taxpayer has security of being able to get their money back.
Thank you. And I had read through it. I just wanted anybody watching to know what it was we were supporting, because it's a very important motion that we hear about often, of some rundown apartments that need attention that aren't necessarily getting it. So, and the tenants are afraid sometimes to bring the issues forward with the thought of getting evicted.
Yeah, I agree. They certainly are. And so we'll pass this motion, hopefully. But the whole minimum housing standards bylaw that the town has, it's there for a very good reason. And, I try to post this on social media and speak to it when I can, but, anything from, I hate to say this, but rats, because, they do because of, compost materials and things like that. But rats and, windows that aren't working, doors that aren't locking, anything that is basically you're thinking this is just not right. You can reach out. Certainly reach out to one of your council members if you want to, and we can steer you in the right direction. But it's important to us, to all of us, that people are living in, decent standard of housing. And so we have this to protect everybody. And I know they do a great job. The staff does a great job on this one. So any more discussion on that one, folks? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, 10H, tax grants. Recommended motion is that council approve the tax grants for 2021, 2022 as presented.
So moved.
Councillor Lesser, seconded by Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion there? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, council advisory committees, committee of the whole, that's you, deputy. It would
Back
appear
on.
you know what to do.
Perfect. It's recommended motion that council accept the town engineering recommendation and award the ferry terminal work package 9 to Ryan's Electrical in the amount of $127,972.28 plus HST.
Good.
So move.
And I was second by Councillor Hatfield. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. I think I saw that check today. I signed it.
Recommended motion that staff perform an assessment of the 59 waste receptacles currently in use to determine if some of the existing receptacles can be relocated or redistributed to underserviced areas.
I'll second that.
Second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion on that one?
Yeah, I noticed, because it comes up often, I'm on social media often, and I noticed this was an issue that came up this week around how we have a lot in one spot and not others. But it's interesting because this is exactly why we're making this motion, is to explore, could there be waste receptacles in different spots? So I'm glad that people brought it up because we're already on it in this case. So kudos to the people for bringing it up, and hopefully we'll get the results from that.
And I think they probably are already working on this, if I'm not wrong, because somebody mentioned to me that they were pleased that there is now a garbage recycle receptacle. I think it was on Pleasant Street or someplace that there wasn't previously. So obviously the staff are on it, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It still doesn't mean you can just throw your garbage if there's not a garbage can. I just don't get that, but we're doing everything we can to fix that. So it's moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
Question?
You have a question there, Gil, or are you calling a question?
Just a comment. I just want to point out to the public that there are 59 existing garbage containers or receptacles within the town limits. So you don't have to walk very far.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Marketing levy participation agreement. So the recommended motion is that council accept the marketing. Go ahead, deputy.
That's all right. I took your spot earlier.
That council accept the marketing levy participation agreement with Acadia First Nation as presented.
Second.
Okay, second by Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion on that one? Go ahead there, deputy.
I just like to say,
Cleveland.
I think any kind of connection that we can have with our First Nations community is always strong. I'm really happy the progressive kind of moving forwards thought that we are to include them in the things that we do and Mariner Center projects and whatnot. And this is just another kind of leap of faith that, you know, we do for each other, and it's great to see. So.
Thank you. Wade?
Just for a little bit of explanation for everybody too, what the marketing levy is money per room that's put into a pot. And MPLAC has that. MPLAC is the group of hotels in the area which have more than 20 rooms, 20 or more. And that money goes towards different things that are happening, be it the 55 plus games, for example, which are hopefully happening this year, and other kind of tourism events. And as the former chair of the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourist Association, it is really exciting to have the True by Hilton and the Acadia First Nations involved in this. So it's pretty exciting stuff, and we're really happy to see this pass, which I'm sure it will in a couple of seconds here.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely love this one. Okay, we good?
I just want to echo what others have said. Anytime we have an opportunity to partner with our First Nations community, which is just outside of the town limits or just on that stretch, they're doing some really good work there with infrastructure, and it's exciting that we have a chance to partner with them, and I'll be supporting the motion.
Good. All righty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, Deputy.
I get to read this one, huh? The recommended motion that council enter into a new lease agreement with Bay Ferries Limited for 1 year with 5 optional years for renewal.
Okay, Councillor Cleveland seconded that. CAO, I just have a question. How does the optional years for renewal, do we discuss do we open up the agreement again?
No, Your Worship. The way we arrived at this structure is that Bay Ferries was looking to align their terminal leases and their vessel lease under the same terms in terms of how long they were in place. And so this is the structure that they have. They're 1 year renewable at their option. So mutual option, I guess you'd say in this case, but that's what they were shooting for. It was either do it that way, or we could do a 5-year lease with an annual cancellation clause. So we just chose to do it this way because it works out the same either way, and it allows them to have consistency in all of their leases for the operation.
Good, thank you
Okay.
for that. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, next we have Citizen Advisory Committees, Planning Advisory. Councillor Cleveland, are you okay to take that?
Yep, sure am.
Okay.
And Councillor McLeod's stead, I've been kind of acting as their acting chair. So as we move forward, 3 Main Street Discharge of Development Agreement, and here's our motion. I'd like to move that council approve by resolution the discharging development agreement as set out in Appendix D of the planner's report, and as requested by the property owner, the discharge of the existing development agreement registered to the subject property of 3 Main Street as set out in Appendix C of the planner's report. So they have a development agreement, or had one in place. The old owners did, and now these people just basically want to make it a residence.
Was that the driveway?
Yes.
And I'll second the motion.
Good, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary? Motion carried. Councillor Cleveland?
Next, 8 James Street, and the motion is to amend the land use bylaw to rezone 8 James Street from an institutional to medium density residential Main Street zone, which would permit the following uses proposed by property owners stated in the planner's report.
And I'll second that one as well. I think this is a really exciting project. And I look forward to seeing what's going to develop there. This is the Sunset Terrace building.
Yeah, it was really nice chatting with the gentleman there at the PAC. You're right, Councillor Stairs. This one's exciting. Okay, any discussion on this one?
I heard there's a beautiful kitchen in that place.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, reports for information.
I'd like to
I think
speak to
there's
one thing if I
anything-
could.
You certainly can.
And Councillor Cleveland mentioned it earlier, the 55 games. Planning is progressing well. We have engaged Mileage Productions to oversee the event, much like we did for the National Communities in Bloom Symposium. So we have Mileage in place to guide us through this. We're in the process of putting the various volunteers in place that we need to marshal the events. And so the drop dead, I guess, date for a decision as to whether to proceed this year or not, based on COVID, would be around July 1st. So we're going to continue on with planning right up to that date. And we're hopeful that the existing COVID inoculation or vaccination schedules will permit this to happen in September. We're thinking by September, everybody's going to be anxious to get out of their homes and move around the province. So we're looking forward. I will say that we've already had 374 pre-registered for the games already. So I think Antigonish had 700 altogether when they hosted the games. We've got 374 already pre-registered, and I don't think many of those are local. So we're expecting a really good crowd.
That's great. Good,
Thank you.
good to hear. Councillor Lesser, did you want to speak to the Wren here? It's appropriate to do so if you want.
Yep, sure. Just not for anybody on council's information, but we had a Wren meeting today, which is the Western Regional Enterprise Network. A great organization, as Mayor Mood mentioned earlier. The team behind that, the board, is phenomenal. And they talked about it today, and they've really brought in talented people to that board. But just some of the interesting things they're doing, and I'm looking here on my phone because I can't bring up two things on my screen very easily. Some of the things they did, the Win This Space contest, which I'm not sure how much of the public were aware of it, but they did a contest where you could win a space in a community to set up a business, a website for the year, and everything that goes with it. Basically to get a business set up, and they had that running, and people applied, and there was a winner selected for that. They also do recruit people for talent for jobs. So when people are looking for people for a workforce, they help do that. This one is exciting, and it was talked about a lot today, is the internet infrastructure, but it's probably not a good time tonight when we're all getting booted off our computers while in town to be bringing it up. But they've invested through government grants a lot of money in this, and doesn't help town as much as it does some of the rural areas, but especially with having at-home learning happening right now, there's a lot of communities in Cape Island and these places that are getting high-speed internet, and what that's going to do to attract people to our area. I work with international students, and they often cannot believe when they come here from places like China how fast our internet speeds are in small town Yarmouth. They thought, we'll probably be on dial-up, and we're really doing well in that area, and now we're going outside of town. So that's a great project. And then the most exciting one, I think, is they have a local immigration partnership, and they were just awarded, I believe, $500,000 to work on bringing immigrants in over the next 5 years. And we did bring up today that hopefully their next strategic plan includes housing in that as well, because as we bring immigrants in, we need places for them to live. So we're working on council on trying to get more housing available to people as well. But just for anybody who doesn't know what Wren is, it's the Western Regional Enterprise Network. It's worth checking out. And I'll try to provide a report every, quarterly or whatever, some of the things they're working on. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that forward for people watching.
Thanks, Derek. It really is important work, and it's interesting all the things they do. So thanks for that. Okay, where are we? I guess we're on mayor's report, and I don't have an official report today, but I'll just pass on a couple things. You know, I think there's been a lot of questions around Dr. Strang's order and the travel restrictions and things like that. It's not municipal. It's a provincial guidelines, but it's really important that people understand, because I think it's been confusing. I'm not exaggerating when I said I've gotten hundreds of messages on this. Most of them are from Shelburne and Clare, but it's okay because people just want to know what's going on. So we're supposed to stay within our municipal units, and you know, a lot of people don't understand what the municipal unit is. Either you live in, if you live in Yarmouth County, and that is the county with 3 municipal units, which is the municipality of Argyle, the municipality of Yarmouth, or the town of Yarmouth. Those are the 3 municipalities. And you can't, the only way that you can leave, or that you should leave, is if you're going to or from work, in-person post-secondary education, if you have to access essential health services, a funeral or an end-of-life visit, or complying. You know, people have asked about court orders with children. You can certainly cross the boundary if there's a court order or child sharing arrangements. If you have to obtain or provide products that are essential to life, health, or personal safety of persons or animals, so groceries, childcare, medications. So, you know, folks out of town can certainly come shopping in town. I said something earlier in the week, which was, you know what, if you're in Tuscott, shop at Carl's store, or, you know, if you're in Hebron, go to Dayton Red and White. And what I meant was, you know, we're very fortunate to be able to go, no matter where we live, to just grab a loaf of bread or some milk at a very local place. And you can still do that. But if you need the big grocery orders, you can certainly come in town. There's other pieces as well to that. And then I guess one of the most important things is, because with COVID, we're dealing with not just physical health, but mental health issues are off the charts. And it's really good for all of us to get outside and move around. So you are permitted, you know, if you live in the town, you can certainly you have to stay within your county. So don't go to, you know, Mavelette Beach if you live in Yarmouth County.
Looks like she froze up again on a nice pose.
It's always the most flattering when it freezes. So that was actually the mayor's report. So she's the one giving it. There's not much I can do on that one.
Good. Have you gotten back now?
Yeah, we
can hear it. Yep, good to go. No,
Okay.
frozen.
Well.
We're for a sec.
I was gone for a second.
Okay, what we heard last is Babolat.
Okay. Yeah, so you can go, you know, you can't go to Mavelette Beach. You can't, because you're crossing the county line. But you can go to like Port Maitland Beach for a walk, go to the Lighthouse for a walk. You've got to keep your 6 feet distance, all those pieces, but it's important for people to get out and exercise and pay attention to the restrictions. I try to post them, and I know council shares them. I really do want to thank everybody. I know it's very small here, but I think it's because we're doing our, so yeah, just keep doing your thing, and, reach out to somebody if you need somebody. So no official mayor's report, just to say thank you to everybody for doing your part. It's not easy. I think it's harder the second time around, but we're doing it. So, okay. So questions for committee chairs. Does anybody, go ahead there, Councillor Cleveland. I do have you written down for an addition, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I was going to interrupt you once we got to additions, but what this is isn't so much a question as a thank you, and it's a thank you going out to the Communities in Bloom Committee, whom I've had a great relationship with anyway since I started in council, and their president or their chair right now, who is Heather Hatfield. Every day I walk to work and walk down Main Street, and of course, walking down Main Street, I always see the empty 275 building, which has been something we've worked very hard to move forward on. But as I walked by it over the last while, the planters, there's 2 planters designed in front, and they've been a bit of a mess, in all honesty. And today, as I was walking back home, I ran into Heather. No, it wasn't today. It was yesterday, wasn't it, Heather? Yesterday, and she was right there weeding them and getting them all cleaned up. And I wanted to say a big thank you for that. I'm very excited about seeing Mariners on Main become a spot there. And those planters always had the potential to be beautiful. And you guys kind of taking ownership of that is a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Well, thank you for the recognition. And it wasn't only me there. I had some helpers. There was a team of us there. But I had to laugh today because I said, and I say this respectfully, but you know you live in a small town when the radio station calls you to interview you about cleaning out a flower bed. But
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to laugh about that. I thought that, but it was great, and we do plan to do a Hope is Growing garden there with yellow flowers, marigolds, and specifically to take part in the Hope is Growing campaign. So yeah, so that was a great day yesterday down there cleaning up. So we still got more work to do, and we're still working on. I'll just kind of update a little bit, but we've got 25 planters coming out that will be on Main Street from basically Forest up to the town hall. And all those planters have been sponsored by the merchants and stores and businesses on Main Street. They all basically rent the pot of flowers. We have them potted for them. We deliver them. The town staff water them every day. We prune them. We pick up the pots in the end of the season and store them for the winter. And the businesses rent them from us for the summer. And so it's a great win-win project, and the businesses and merchants on Main Street have been very supportive of that, and we thank them, and supportive enough that we've gone from 15 up to 25 this year. So we're putting those out the 1st of June, and we'll have Mariners on Main hopefully looking good, and we'll be ready to go. We also have a project we're working on for Mariners on Stars Road or Jody Shelley Drive, however you enter into it. But and so we're not going to reveal that yet, but we are working on it, and hopefully we'll have something up there that people can see as they drive by. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Love to hear these stories. Any more questions for committee chairs or?
Your Worship.
Yes.
Not a question as much as there's a lot of a growing concern, I guess, in the community, as we've all heard about what's coming up on the weekend around some of the protests to do with restrictions. And I want to put it out there because what I've been answering people is, contact the police if you're concerned about it. If they're breaking the law. Obviously, if people are breaking the law, we've seen in the province that people give fines. But what I don't think people understand is not, as councillors, we don't enforce the law. We have police to do that. It's unfortunate if police have to get into a situation that puts them in a potentially unhealthy situation. But we don't live in a vigilante society. And I know people have said, I've heard people saying we should start a pro-vaccine campaign or whatever. But once again, you're still gathering as a group, and it's, I know, people are entitled to their opinions up to a point where it becomes it's a public safety issue at this point. And it's mandated by the province. It's not something we've mandated. But I just think it's important that people realize that as councillors, we don't enforce that. And the police we told people the police are already aware of it. So them getting bombarded with phone calls is probably preventing them from doing what they should be doing, is protecting us in other ways. So I just wanted to get it out there that the police are aware of it, that situation, and hopefully if people are breaking the rules, they'll get the fines they deserve.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I wasn't saying anything because if you don't say it, it doesn't exist. But you're right. And so my first call was obviously to our police chief. We've discussed it. I'm not convinced people are traveling here. I'm not. I can't say that that's true or not, but it's not essential travel. So you couldn't get, it's not a good thing to even try that. I think what they're trying to do is just get people to gather in those places. But the RCMP are certainly aware of it. I've had a nice solid chat with them. They know what the rules are. They enforce them. And if you're going to gather with a bunch of people, you better have a pocket full of money. So, and more than that, because quite frankly, we don't need anybody here putting our people in danger. We've done really, really well. We're proud of what we've done, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Everybody has their opinion, but frankly, you're not welcome. So thanks for that. Anyone else for committee chairs or anything? Okay, Councillor Cleveland, you had an addition.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Your Worship. And I guess it's a testament to the fact I'm starting to get tired that I forgot to do this at the very start to add this in as an addition. But I have two motions that I have to make. And they both reflect back to the joint council meeting that we had yesterday on the reopening of the facility at 275 Main Street and the presentation that was made there. So the first motion that I would make, and I would ask for you to approve, is if you could approve the Mariners on Main opening plan as presented by Durham yesterday at that meeting. So that's a motion.
Be my privilege to second that.
Second by Councillor Dares. Any discussion?
I did listen to the presentation, Councillor Cleveland, and it was excellent. And we are privileged to have Durham as our guiding force out there. So that I will be in favor of the motion.
Okay.
I agree 100% with what Councillor Hatfield just said. You don't have to be around Durham long to know that he's an all-star. I met him prior. His wife teaches at the school. You got a good one there, Wade. I'll tell you that. The work that's being done was really impressive. You could read that front to back and not know a thing about what was going on and be caught right up. I think every I is dotted, every T is crossed. There's some real consideration into conservative numbers, so we're not going in here, crunching numbers and being worried. At the end of the day, it could end up being more revenue than thought. And I just, we all ran on reopening this thing, and man, this plan, I'm so looking forward to it. And you hope for 10 out of 10s, and sometimes you get 11 out of 10s, and that's what that was. It was job well done. So I'll very happily be supporting this as well.
Good.
Let's call for question.
Question.
Yep, question's called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead there, Councillor Cleveland.
One more thing, and that is a request that was made as part of that meeting, is that we transfer the $75,000 that we committed to the opening until the intermunicipal agreement has been decided and negotiated. So if I could have someone second the motion that we transfer that money to the Mariner Center so that they can begin some much needed work to get everything in place for the opening of Mariners on Main, which we're still hoping will happen in mid-September.
Again, I second that. Thank you.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Contrary? Motion carried. You're welcome. Thank you.
I think
Okay.
it's just
Approval of
wonderful.
invoices. Yes,
If I could dance right now, it would frighten you all, but I would. Thank you.
Approval of invoices, please, that the various invoices be approved for payment. Councilor Lester, you just make that motion. I have a seconder. Councilor Hatfield seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion
I think I
carried.
need-
Thanks, folks. The date of the next meeting, Zach?
I think we need to go back to Ren and ask for better internet. You keep breaking up here on us.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm, yeah.
Still cutting in and out, Mayor Mood.
Jack or Mr. CAO, do we have in-camera items to go over?
No.
Not working, Pam. We can't hear you.
The best internet in the. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Enough to close the meeting.
So you want me to take over?
Yeah.
Okay, so the date of the next meeting will be June 10th, I believe.
At 6:30.
At 6:30, yes. Yes.
That's
So
what
I'm
I
happy.
said.
Yeah.
Can we make sure Mike gets, I think Mike's on here, maybe just get something on the website prior to that as well, so people don't tune in at 7:30 and miss, all the important stuff we're doing.
Sure. Yeah, we'll make sure lots of notice goes out.
Yeah, perfect.
So motion to adjourn?
So move.
Perfect. And I believe that's it.
All right. Thanks a lot, folks.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Have a good one.